Welcome to History for Week 5. This week we're going to be looking at what life was like in the new colony. So first we're going to talk about Governor Phillip. Phillip was the founding governor of the colony of New South Wales, and 2014 marked the 200th anniversary of his death at his home in Bath, England, on the 31st of August in 1814. As commander of the First Fleet, Captain Arthur Phillip led 11 ships, some little bigger than a Sydney ferry, on a remarkable 8-month voyage. The success of the voyage with minimal loss of life was due to Phillip's care and planning prior to their departure from Portsmouth, England. On arrival at Botany Bay, Phillip found the site unsuitable and searched for a more habitable site for settlement, which he found in Port Jackson, the site of Sydney today. From Government House, where the Museum of Sydney now stands, Governor Phillip ruled the colony and its 1,500 inhabitants with absolute power and responsibility for its survival. His determination and strength as a leader were tested during the first years of settlement, when crops failed, supply ships did not come. His authority was challenged, and initial attempts to broker a harmonious relationship with the local Aboriginal people were largely unsuccessful. In spite of these hardships, the colony prospered, and Phillip is remembered today for his many achievements. His vision of a British outpost of free settlers helped grow an undistinguished penal colony into a global city, which we now know today as Sydney. Sydney Living Museums developed a strong and exciting program of events that sought to explore Phillip and his pivotal role in the early history of Sydney and the development of the modern nation of Australia. There is an optional activity that I've linked in your history folder on your Google document. It's just basically watching the little video of the Sydney Minutes describing all about Governor Phillip, which is what I've just told you about anyway. So it's just optional if you want to just get a little bit more information in video form. We're going to talk about convict life now. So by 1801, Sydney had grown into a little village with streets and buildings. Many of the buildings were made of timber and stone. Some older houses were made from wattle and dabe. Convicts lived in their own homes in an area known as the Rocks, which we know today as it's still being the Rocks in the Sydney city. They lived here with some of their families, but it wasn't just convicts living in the village. Local Aboriginal people lived there too. They camped near the convict houses, fished on the harbour, traded goods and food with townsfolk, and brought news from further away. Aboriginal people had lived in and around Sydney Cove for thousands of years. By now, they were used to the sights of new ships arriving, and they would often be out on the harbour in their canoes. For newly arrived convicts, the environment of Sydney was strange and very different to what they were used to. During summer, days of unbearable heat were often followed by ferocious thunderstorms and torrential rain, which is similar to what we have now in summer. Sometimes in summer it's really hot through the day, and then thunderstorms and rain come at night because of the heat. Overhead, few flocks of brightly coloured parrots and cockatoos, while kangaroos, echidnas, wombats and goannas roamed the scrubby bush. Most convicts enjoyed living in Sydney more than living on settler farms in the bush. In town, they could visit friends or family for a cup of tea or lunch, enjoy a dance in fancy clothes, or visit a theatre. When they were not working, they gambled with their money, played games and relaxed. The early settlers relied on fish, oysters, and native animals and fruits to supplement their diet. They also traded with the local Aboriginal people for game, especially kangaroo. So I've got 4 questions for you to answer this week, and these can be just typed directly into your Google document. Or if you're working on paper, you can just write down the answers and just list them 1 to 4. So the first question is asking you, what was life like in the new colony for the first fleeters? You need to list what did they enjoy doing around Sydney. All this information can be found on slide 1. The next one is asking you to fill in this sentence. So You just need to fill the blanks in this, and this sentence is taken directly from the information that I've just read. Number 3 is asking you to list which ship did Governor Phillip command. Number 4, what happened in the first couple of years as a leader of the settlement? So what happened to Governor Phillip in those first couple of years as a settlement? Did he go through hardship, or did something test his determination? That is all listed in the slides as well. So if you need to go back and look at any information, you can go and look at the PDF slides of this video, which are linked in the same history folder for week 5.